The New York Yankees are standing at a crossroads once again, and this offseason feels like one of those moments that could define the next era of baseball in the Bronx. Fans can feel it, the buzz, the rumors, the constant speculation. Everywhere you look, there's talk about trades, free agency, and what comes next for Aaron Judge and this entire roster. Because let's be honest, the Yankees aren't in a rebuild. They don't do that. The Yankees reload, they retool, they reimagine how to get back to the top. And that's exactly what's happening right now. It's been a rough few seasons of near misses and frustrating playoff exits, but there's a sense that this front office knows it can't afford another year of falling short. Judge isn't getting any younger, and the pressure is real to build a team that can finally deliver him the ring he deserves. The pitching staff looks solid, that much is clear, and the Yankees have some exciting young names waiting to break out. Jason Dominguez and Ben Rice, for example, have brought a spark to the roster that fans have been begging for. But even with that young core emerging, there are holes that still need to be addressed. And that's where this offseason gets really interesting. The infield, especially, is under the microscope. Shortstop remains a position of uncertainty, and third base is another puzzle the Yankees have yet to solve. Ryan McMahon showed flashes with his defense, but the plate, he just couldn't put it together. The front office has to decide whether to double down on his glove or look elsewhere for more consistent offensive production. And then there's first base, arguably the biggest question mark on the roster right now. Ben Rice has shown promise, no doubt about that. He can hit, he's got power, and he brings great energy to the team. But is he ready to be the full-time first baseman for a championship contender? That's where opinions start to split. Some see Rice as the long-term answer, while others believe the Yankees need a proven bat, someone who can step in and deliver immediate results. That's where the rumors about Pete Alonso come in. Yes, you heard that right. Pete Alonso, the New York Mets slugger, could be on the Yankees' radar. According to reports, the Yankees have been listed as one of the favorites to pursue Alonso, who's entering free agency after opting out of his deal with the Mets. The idea alone sounds wild. A star from Queens crossing over to the Bronx. But this is New York baseball, and crazier things have happened. Still, it's not just about whether the Yankees want him. The real question is, would Alonso actually do it? Would he make the move that would shake up both sides of New York? History tells us that kind of jump rarely happens. You have to go all the way back to Dwight Gooden in the mid-90s to find a major example of a Mets star putting on pinstripes. But if there were ever a time for it, it might be now. The Yankees need a reliable power bat at first base. And Alonso is coming off his best season, a 272 batting average, 38 home runs, and one of the top OPS numbers in the league. But there's a catch. Alonso wants a massive deal. Reports say he's asking for around 7 years, and that's a huge commitment for a player who doesn't bring much to the table defensively or on the base paths. The Yankees would essentially be paying for the bat, and only the bat. And while that bat is elite, it doesn't exactly fix the Yankees' biggest issue, contact hitting. This team has power for days, but they've struggled to string hits together, move runners, and play the kind of small ball baseball that wins championships. Another power hitter might make the lineup look intimidating on paper, but it doesn't necessarily make it better in October. That's why so many are wondering if the Yankees should be thinking differently this time around. Instead of chasing another slugger, maybe they should focus on balance, on building a lineup that can hit for average, run the bases, and actually manufacture runs when it counts. Someone like Josh Naylor, for instance, fits that mold better. He may not have Alonso's home run totals, but he's a more complete player when it comes to base running and situational hitting. The Yankees could also simply stick with Ben Rice. He's young, inexpensive, and has plenty of upside. Last season, he posted a 255 average with 26 home runs and an OPS in the mid-800s. Solid production for a rookie still adjusting to the majors. Plus, Rice brings energy and athleticism to the field, something that's been missing from this lineup for years. He runs better than Alonso, he's improving defensively, and most importantly, he's under team control for a long time. That gives the Yankees financial flexibility to address other pressing needs, like shortstop or third base, instead of pouring a fortune into another power hitter. Because let's be real, this team can't just rely on home runs anymore. The league has adjusted. The postseason exposes one-dimensional offenses, and we've seen the Yankees' bats go silent when the lights shine brightest. And then there's Aaron Judge, whose situation adds another layer to all of this. His elbow injury late last season raised major questions about his long-term role in the outfield. He mentioned after the Yankees lost to Toronto that he would do some work on it and get it right. But when asked if surgery was on the table, his answer wasn't exactly reassuring. That uncertainty could change everything for the Yankees' defensive alignment. If Judge can't throw or play the field consistently, first base could become an option for him down the line. And if that's even a remote possibility, then committing 7 years and a mountain of cash to Pete Alonso makes even less sense. Sports Illustrated pointed out back in July that Judge's elbow strain limited him to designated hitter duties, and while he fought through it, the risk of a more serious UCL issue can't be ignored. If Judge's arm doesn't fully recover, the Yankees might need to shuffle positions and get creative with how they structure their lineup. That means keeping flexibility at first base could actually be a strategic advantage. Rushing to fill it with a long-term contract would take that away. Meanwhile, Ben Rice's name keeps coming up in trade rumors. Teams across the league are calling, trying to see if the Yankees might part ways with one of their most intriguing young players. But so far, the Yankees seem unwilling to move him unless it's for a true star, someone who can change the franchise's trajectory. And that's the right mindset. Trading Rice just to fill another hole would be short-sighted. He's one of the few homegrown hitters showing real promise, and the Yankees need to hold on to that if they want to get younger and more athletic. Of course, if the Yankees did decide to move Rice in a blockbuster trade, say, for a top-tier third baseman or shortstop, then pursuing Pete Alonso might make a little more sense. In that scenario, you'd be replacing Rice's power and keeping the offensive balance intact. But if Rice stays, and if Judge remains an outfield question mark, the smarter play might be patience. Let Rice grow, spend money where it really matters, and build a team that doesn't just hit the ball out of the park, but knows how to play complete baseball. And you can't ignore how all this ties into the bigger picture. Cody Bellinger's future is uncertain. Trent Grisham is likely on his way out, and the Yankees are once again reshuffling the outfield. It's a delicate puzzle, and every piece affects the next. If Bellinger walks, maybe they go after a contact-heavy outfielder like Stephen Kwan. If they decide to trade Rice, maybe they use that leverage for a pitcher like Tarek Skubal, who could become available. Every move ripples through the roster, shaping not just next season, but the long-term path of the franchise. That's why this offseason feels so monumental. The Yankees are in a position to redefine their identity, not as the team that waits for the long ball, but as a team that plays smart, balanced, and relentless baseball again. The kind of baseball that made the dynasty years unforgettable. They have the resources, the prospects, and the motivation. Now it's just about making the right decisions. Because while adding a star like Pete Alonso would make headlines and sell jerseys, it doesn't necessarily make the Yankees better. And right now, being better, not louder, should be the goal. When you really think about it, what makes this whole Yankees offseason so fascinating is that it's not just about numbers or contracts. It's about identity. This team has spent years trying to find a balance between the power-heavy style that once made them feared and the modern, versatile approach that defines championship baseball today. You can look around the league and see teams like the Braves, the Astros, and even the Diamondbacks finding success not just because they hit home runs, but because they can adapt. They can play fast, put pressure on defenses, and grind out at-bats when it matters most. That's the kind of balance the Yankees have been missing, and it's what makes every decision they make now so crucial. The Yankees know they can't just outspend their problems anymore. Sure, money gives them flexibility, but it doesn't guarantee chemistry or consistency. We've seen that over and over again. Big contracts come with big expectations, and when those expectations aren't met, the weight of it crushes players and creates tension in the clubhouse. That's why adding someone like Pete Alonso would be such a complicated move. His bat speaks for itself. Few players can change a game with one swing like he can, but fitting him into the Yankees' long-term plan isn't just about finding space on the field. It's about finding a place in the culture they're trying to rebuild. And make no mistake, this team is rebuilding something beyond talent. They're rebuilding belief. After years of frustration, the fan base wants to feel that spark again, that sense that every player on the roster is pulling in the same direction. When you watch someone like Ben Rice, you see that energy. He's not just producing, he's playing with purpose. He's showing that hunger that the Yankees have been searching for. That's why fans are so protective of him right now, because he represents a new era of Yankees baseball that's not just about payroll, but about pride. Of course, baseball isn't sentimental. It's a business, and there's always the temptation to go after the biggest name available. But history has shown that the Yankees don't always thrive when they chase the loudest move. Sometimes the quieter, smarter decisions are the ones that pay off in October. Look at how they built the late 90s teams. Strong defense, balanced hitting, elite pitching, and a core that grew together. That formula still works. It's just harder to stick to when the pressure to win now is so intense. And the pressure this winter is enormous. Aaron Judge's health looms over every move the Yankees might make. If he's not a full-time outfielder next season, it changes everything about how the team is structured. It affects who they sign, who they trade, and even how they manage the lineup day to day. It's not just about whether his elbow will hold up. It's about how the Yankees protect their most valuable asset while still giving themselves a chance to win. If Judge spends more time as a designated hitter, then outfield defense becomes a major concern. If he transitions to first base down the road, that position has to stay open. That's why so many analysts believe the Yankees will stay cautious on a long-term deal for a first baseman right now. Meanwhile, fans are restless. They want action, they want headlines, they want that signature offseason splash. But maybe this is the year the Yankees have to think differently. Maybe instead of going for the flashiest signing, they should build the kind of depth that wins postseason games. Players like Jazz Chisholm bring athleticism and fire. Someone like Steven Kwan could bring discipline and contact hitting. These are the kinds of pieces that change how a lineup functions. Instead of waiting for the long ball, the Yankees could become a team that forces mistakes, that takes extra bases, that turns singles into runs. That's the kind of baseball that gets under opponents' skin, and it's the kind of baseball the Bronx has been missing. The pitching side of things gives some hope. The rotation, led by Garrett Cole, still has one of the best arms in the game, and the bullpen remains solid when healthy. But pitching alone can't carry a team through an entire season if the offense keeps stalling in key moments. That's where the strategy has to evolve. The Yankees can't keep relying on the same formula, expecting different results. The postseason is brutal because it exposes every weakness, especially when teams can't manufacture runs. But before we continue, please remember to join our channel and give this video a like. Your support allows us to keep bringing you the latest news about the New York Yankees. Feel free to share your thoughts on the news in the comments. The New York Yankees, never shy when it comes to making headlines, may have just shaken the baseball world with their latest moves, or at least with whispers that have fans buzzing from the Bronx to Tokyo. The latest chatter hitting locker rooms and sports bars alike. Corbin Burnes, the dominant right-hander who has been a thorn in the side of hitters across the league, could be heading to Yankee Stadium to bolster a rotation that has long been the subject of both admiration and scrutiny. Sources close to the front office have reportedly hinted that negotiations are moving faster than expected, with the Yankees eager to add a true ace to a pitching staff that has flirted with greatness but often found itself teetering in the playoffs. Burnes, known for his pinpoint control and devastating breaking ball, would instantly become the centerpiece of a rotation that already boasts talent, but has lacked that unquestionable frontline starter capable of stealing the spotlight on the biggest stages. Fans are already imagining the possibilities. Burnes in pinstripes, taking the mound with the roar of Yankee faithful behind him, and suddenly the American League seems a little smaller, a little more conquerable. Yet, as with all high-profile rumors, caution is advised. While insiders claim the deal is very likely, no official statements have been released, and the usual web of agents, managers, and front office strategists could still throw a wrench in the proceedings. Still, the very idea of Burnes joining Aaron Judge, Giancarlo Stanton, and the rest of the Bronx Bombers has ignited imaginations and speculation in equal measure. Could this be the move that finally solidifies the Yankees' claim to dominance? Or is it just another tantalizing whisper in a long season of trade rumors? If Burnes does land in New York, the implications are immediate. Opponents would have to plan for arguably one of the toughest pitching matchups in recent memory, while fans might see the team that has always chased perfection suddenly look like the one capable of capturing it. For now, the story is still being written, and every pitch, every trade whisper, and every front office maneuver is being dissected with the intensity of a playoff game. Yankees fans, it seems, have yet another reason to stay glued to the rumor mill, because in New York, even whispers carry the weight of legends. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the New York Yankees, please subscribe to our channel and give us a like. We always appreciate your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.